Spot to just sort of jump in. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a discussion on nothing. As you can tell, we've already kind of been chatting, but this is John. John, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm John.
Perfect. I always tend to do that. I introduce people and then I tell them to introduce themselves.
So I'm John Farmer, and I am part of Zepstone Media and Global Music Radio.
Yeah, which is probably possibly where you're listening to this. If you're not watching it on YouTube,
you are listening to this.
You're listening to it on GMR.
So. On GMR.fm right now.
Here's one of the guys, man. One of the
founders right here. Trevor Woodford is the other guy that is dumping in a hell of a lot of cash and putting in a hell of a lot of time.
Hell yeah.
He reminds me of a young me.
Thanks for making this so awesome, dude.
Yeah. Thanks for making this happen, sir. Absolutely.
It's across the world now, too, man. You guys just brought on some giants. It's great. It's great. Bunch of new countries. More things. It's awesome.
Yeah, today just got some pretty crazy news. We'll see how it goes, but we could be seeing some big things coming here real soon. But yeah, cool. We just got Bangladesh. Let's give it. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone here because I know I always forget the new countries and everything.
Well, you guys have so many new countries. It's really cool.
And that's
awesome
I don't
to
want
see
to
you
miss
guys just growing and growing.
The other day, I gave a shout out to everybody, and I forgot Australia, and they are kind of like
nice, man.
I know I was doing it in alphabetical order, but I was so excited we had Bangladesh.
I was gonna say, man, and they've been in the game since I've been in the game too, man.
Oh yeah.
And so those of you who don't have any clue what we're talking about right now, John and I actually met long ago when he had his first internet radio thing going called Utah Musicians
Radio.
Yeah. And it was great. And I loved what he was doing. And ever since then, I've just always supported what he does online. And he's come through a lot of different variations of it. And Australia kind of signed on when it was AMR. Yeah. And that was a different thing. And they're still, they are AMR still, right? Radio. Now it's Australian Musician Radio. Or whatever, right?
So
AMR, it's different AMR though. It's not the same thing. It's a different.
Yep, it's not. It's still Australian. I'm still gonna do it, man, because that's the kind of guy that I am. Big shout out to Gareth McDowell. I mean, he
absolutely
kind of, gone our separate ways. I have no ill will. I love the guy to death. I'll always support him. And so right now, I'm gonna give a shout out to Australian Musicians Radio. You can find him on AustralianMusiciansRadio.com. You can go on to Facebook and find him there, because you know what I mean. I still believe in everything. We just
it's all about love, man. Period. This whole thing is all about love. So,
absolutely. Yeah. So big shout out to Gareth, because he was there from the inception of AMR. We got him on probably it was easily
early on.
After, well, let's see, 2000. So it was about 2013. So we were AMR for a good little while, and then he joined in, then he started the station there. And when my AMR, American Musicians Radio, took some hard times came about, and so I went back to the core of Utah Musicians Radio. But he was the one that said, hey, I've got this great platform you can use. So he helped resurrect my AMR, American Musicians Radio. And then we had been partnering and working together and everything. And then just recently we kind of went our different ways. We went global, and he stuck with Australia. So we started our new team. So we have a brand new team down there. Leanne, Nathan, there's a few other people that they brought on board. And they're killing it. And the
awesome
music that they're bringing to the table is fantastic. So big shout out to Australia and all the people down there, everybody. Big shout out. Love them all. They're doing great. So we've got now So now to kind of narrow it down to what we were saying here. So
Yeah, yeah.
we've got Australia, we've got Bangladesh. That's a new one. Canada, they jumped in about 2 months before everybody else. So big shout out to Timmy. We've got Egypt. We've got, let's see, we scroll down a couple of places here. Dude, we're working on getting Pakistan. How's that?
Cool.
And
That's great, man.
Lebanon, Kenya, India. These are ones that are coming on board pretty quick. But we've got Spain
Beautiful.
running. Big shout out to Jorge. He is killing it down there. Tunisia,
Awesome.
great music there. And then the United States, obviously, that's the one that I'm running right now. And then great one, Zimbabwe.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
we're getting news from Zimbabwe that we're creating quite a ripple effect down there because they don't have much radio. So a
Oh,
lot of people are
cool. So
taking
you
notice.
guys
So
are
we're
good.
actually
Yeah, cool.
helping the locals a lot down there. So
Here's some music from around the globe.
yep. So you can and it's great because if you've got headphones and a phone and you've got cell
Yeah,
service
it's
and you're going
easy.
for a
It's
hike
super
up in the
easy.
mountains, you just
Yeah, I
go to
went
the
and checked it
website and
out.
you can listen to music in Zimbabwe while you're hiking the Utah mountains.
Yeah, it's great.
So
It's great.
it's
That's awesome, man. I love what you guys are up to.
thanks, man.
So, but yeah, man, I'm really jazzed to have you on. Me and John have had lots and lots of deep dives, and we've talked about all sorts of stuff about reality and sort of our takes on reality. And one of my favorite things about you, John, is that you're not afraid to sort of like challenge viewpoints and sort of go, hey, like, well, what about this? And then you'll find good arguments. You usually find good questions to ask as opposed to sort of pointless questions that just loop you back around to the same sort of answer. Not that there's like a different answer, like you will always lead back to the same answer, because like the same answer is that thing that we're always talking about that can't be talked about, right? So
it's the things that aren't there.
it's true. It's
the
true,
things that
right?
the things that we perceive are there are not there, and that we are them that we see.
Right. Yes.
I get you, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I've
been listening to your shows. I get you,
They're still getting it. They're still getting it. If you're getting it, you've lost it. You've missed it.
Lost it. Yeah, because there's no getting.
There's no getting it. But that's the thing, right? Is like I think there's like this really big misconception among, sort of this new age like movement of seekers, I'll say, because I was there. I still am, right? Otherwise, why would I even be doing this, right? There really wouldn't be a point. I'm not necessarily seeking an answer. I'm seeking different, variations. Like what can we kind of check out with this, like that's why I love having different people on the show and different viewpoints, is because then it helps me take in different perceptions and different viewpoints and different filters, right?
Right.
Like I know deep down it's all me, it's all you. You are me, I am you. We're the same thing underneath it all. Underneath it all, right? But
yeah.
but it's seen differently, right? Like John sees the world differently than Daniel sees the world, completely. Like that's just how it works.
Too. I'm colorblind.
Oh, there you go.
I'm colorblind.
See,
so
Jordan's colorblind too. That's two people
completely
that we've had on.
You.
What kind of colorblind are you? What's your difficulty in color?
It's the red greens, the typical, but it's more of the pastels. So I'll look at purples and blues, and they look identical. One just looks like a darker shade than the other. I don't see the reds inside of it.
Can you tell blue and green?
Greens,
can you tell those
grays, apart? If you can.
Greens and grays. Okay, I've heard that one before. Yeah. Greens and blues. Can you differentiate those two?
Yeah, I can. I do a pretty good job. I can even point out like turquoise, so I can.
Interesting.
I can see,
okay.
The red. Yeah.
So Jordan can't see greens or blues. Like I mean, he can. He just can't like tell. They're the same color. Yeah, they're basically the same color. He can tell that some are darker or whatever than others, but like he can't tell if it's blue or if it's green. Like I've got this. It's funny. I've got this piece of art right here, which is like perfect. Because there's
Yeah.
blues and there's greens and there's
See, I
purples
can
and
see the
there's,
greens and blues even from here.
yeah. He
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to tell you which was which though. He'd be able
Oh,
to tell you there's a difference, but he wouldn't be able to tell you which is which. So that's interesting that you
the
can tell
one
the
weird,
difference, but there's other stuff you can't. That's
yeah. So
fascinating.
on the, yeah, so there are certain reds and greens that apart, I can't tell which is which until I put them together. And then I can
Okay.
go, that one's red, that one's green. But apart, I couldn't tell you, like if you put them 6 feet apart, I couldn't tell you which one was red or green at that point until you
Interesting.
put them together. Then the colors come
That's
together.
fascinating
And
because
then I can see
those
it.
are like opposites, right? Those are like the colors. I forgot what it's called, but
Yeah.
like
Uh,
in on the color wheel though, that's like the
the
opposite color,
opposite.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's the
I think
negative
blue, I
essentially.
think blue is the opposing of red.
I
I
believe it
think.
is. I believe it's green, which is why Christmas colors are that way. I believe blues
Oh,
is orange. I think blues
I
is
thought it was just
orange.
part of the primaries. So it'd be red, yellow, blue that are the opposing when you do the negative. I don't know. You're probably right. Again, how could I tell you?
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
be real.
Well, and
How
here's
could
a
I
real
tell you?
question. Yeah.
It could look
And
blue to me and it's really green.
yeah, but whose rules are we going by anyways? Right.
We're, we're going by the
We're going
scientific
by
theory of color
exactly,
Department of
exactly,
Defense.
exactly. So yes, here we go. It's called complementary colors. That's what they're
That's
called. And
it.
it is,
It
it
is
does
green.
look, God, it's not focusing. There we go. But it is green. Yeah.
Okay.
It's too bright. My screen's like too bright. So, but yes,
Gosh.
it's like purple and yellow, blue and orange, red and green. Those are the guys right there.
Nice.
But I remember, I remembered, that was a cool thing to sort of toy with in art class. Because I remember the illusion. You remember the optical illusion where you stare at something long enough, then you
Oh
look
yeah.
at a
Then
white sheet of paper, and it's like,
Abraham Lincoln
yeah,
shows up.
yeah, you see the opposite colors. You see the colors that they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
and it's and that's obviously that's where the theory comes from. Is sort of the reaction that sort of naturally occurs with our eyes, but it doesn't with yours. So it's sort of like it's subjective, right? It's like who's to say that the guy that came up with that original theory? There's my doggy. The guy who came up with that original theory wasn't colorblind, right? Like because I'm sure that theory's been around a lot longer than colorblindness,
Yeah.
right?
Who's to
But
say that the guy that
colorblindness,
came up with the colors
but
wasn't already
colorblindness has been,
colorblind?
yeah, but colorblindness has been around for who knows how long. It just got
Yeah.
discovered at a certain time, right? So
Yep.
it's like everything's sort of arbitrary in that way too.
So
Like
you're
really
really
everything.
you want a real trip
Go
talking
for it.
about
I love them. That's the
let's
whole
take
point of
this
the show.
so let's take this to a molecular structure scale
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I take everything down to the atom, right? And
Yeah, I
so
was gonna say you like breaking shit
I'm
down.
a very finite kind of person. So
No.
here's the thought. So the illusion is well, let's start this out. So you
Okay.
know how the particles, you shoot out one particle and then it comes up in two different, they have the little splitter thing and it shows that two atoms
Yeah,
show up
yeah,
at
yeah.
the same time.
The split theory or the split
Yeah. I can't
test
remember what it's
theory or
called.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The part
So
where
it shows,
it's either a particle or it's a wave, right? Yeah, I got
yeah,
you.
right.
I got you.
So everything that we see is a photon. So it's some kind of particle. It's a trigger. So when you're looking at that image, right? And then you look at the white sheet, or, you get the image, the reverse colored image.
Right.
That takes atoms and particles
Right.
and energy
Yeah, you're
to happen.
seeing
So
energy.
what are we
Yeah.
truly,
Absolutely.
if you want to get into a real deep realm of the things that you can and can't see, then would that not be something that really already was?
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's like you're not seeing something new. Like you're never seeing something new. That's why I'm so confident when I say that. Like you've never seen something new. You've seen new like experiences, right? But
And
it's all part of a pattern system that's just there, right?
yeah,
And it just depends on how it's looked at. as to what it's done. I'm getting a tattoo here soon. I'm
Oh,
excited.
is it going to exist?
No, that's beautiful about it. No, but you'll
Why
see
are you
it.
getting it? No, go ahead.
No, I'm getting a tattoo, and it's of this, and I'm getting it there so that, you know, one, so that when people see it, they go, "Oh, I love that." It opens a door up where I can talk about some stuff. But I'm gonna get this right.
It's a little. I can't.
Come
make
on,
it
there we
out.
go.
Oh,
Hey,
there it
all
goes.
right,
Ah, cool.
there it is. So my question for you is the cube in a room or missing its corner? Also,
So
which cube am I talking about?
So the when you first put it up and it was coming into focus, it looked like the cube was missing a piece. And now that I'm looking at it longer, it looks like there's a cube in a room. So
Yes.
it's a bigger cube that is missing a piece, or a smaller cube inside a room, and I can see both, and that's exactly the point.
Is exactly. It means that they're both there. They're both there.
Yeah.
Not one or the other. They're both there.
They're both
And they're
there
both
in our perception.
symbiotically existing too. Like literally, like the missing pieces. You look at that again. I gotta find my camera. There it is. The missing pieces, right,
Yep.
of the corner becomes the pieces that are missing in the room.
Now, if you really want to hear, so here's how we get into the human mind's processing, in my opinion, is that you have certain people that can only see one side, and other people that can only see it, and they cannot, literally, their mind is not able.
Well, it's not wired for it, right? It doesn't have the right exercises in place to make that occur.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that creates a division.
Right.
Let's get into politics. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not, yeah, it's not that they can't do it. It's just that
they can't see it. They can't, so they can't.
Right. It's because,
They can't say, if I can't see it, then I can't believe it.
I can't believe it. Right. Yeah. And that's absolutely the case. You know, and I think that's a big misperception about sort of this whole thing, is that there's sort of, like, when I talk about nothing as though it's a thing, which it is, but it isn't. Like, this nothing that I'm talking about is literally what I'm saying it is. It's nothing. However, it's such a big thing in your existence, like that I can't just say it's nothing, so it's like it's whatever. Like, but that's also the truth. It's nothing. So that means that there's not really there's not anything super serious about it. I mean, and that I'll get flack for that, for saying that. But like, what's happening to you right this very second?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and it's
like you're here. You're here. If you're hearing this, you're here. Like, there's not anything wrong with you, and I can hear the arguments already. But what about the rest of the world? But what about these people who are going through these hardships? But what about these people?
It's true.
Right. That's outside of you. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you. If you're here listening to this, then guess what? That's you. You're not those people you're talking about.
Yeah, it's but again, it's all connected.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Even though, and it goes back to the particle versus wave. When you're not looking, it's a particle. When you're looking, it's a wave. You know, it's kind of like, so as
Schrodinger's cat, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Isn't that Schrodinger's cat?
Yes.
Or,
and so
I think that's his name. Anyways, I may have said
Schroders or Schrodinger. Something like that. It's a sure sound. I know that much. Schrodinger's.
I probably slaughtered it.
Is it Schroeder's cat?
Schrodinger's. I think it may be Schrodinger. I think I may have said it right. I said it close enough in my American accent. So it's an Austrian name. So I'm not sure the correct pronunciation. But yes, basically it's a thought experiment, right? Like, and it's if the cat die, if you put a cat in a box and then you poison the box, right, and you're unsure if the poison is lethal or not, does the cat die, or but you never open the box. You can never open the box. The box stays closed forever. Is the cat dead or is the cat alive? Like, and it's
Well,
only like
forever,
it's,
eventually the cat will be
I
dead.
mean, right, obviously, yes, at some point.
But I get
But
the principle
yes.
as it exists, and it's kind
And
of like
I'm
what.
slaughtering that as well. I'm
Well, right.
slaughtering
Well,
the thought
and
experiment. But
I've had many
go look it up,
experiences.
right? Like
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah. Go
thought
look it up.
experiment to do. Go check it out, because
I,
it's definitely worth checking out, because it gets your brain kind
yeah. Well, and it's like I mean, even in a simpler state of mind, and you don't need hallucinations for this. You can just sit, uh, and then just ask yourself, is whatever's behind me, does it exist? Is
of.
what's behind
Exactly,
me
yeah.
right now exist? And it's like, okay, I can sit back in the chair and I can feel it. Okay, that
You
exists,
can
but that
feel it.
doesn't mean the
The
space
feeling
behind the wall.
exists, yeah.
Then I can look into the TV and I can see what's
A
behind me. But
reflection.
again, that's
You're just looking at a
particles.
reflection, though.
That's
Yeah.
still something that is picking up the light. But what's to say that what's behind that curtain is still existing?
Right, yeah.
We don't know it because I
Absolutely.
don't see it. We can't, you know, all I can go off is now sound, which is life upstairs moving about. But when they're not in those other rooms, do those other rooms exist in the time while
Right.
they're until they walk in?
Well, and even during
So
all of those things, you've only got one sensory perception for each sort of thing. I mean, well, there you kind of have all five, but then they slowly start dropping off, right? And then you're only left with auditory, and then what? But what's that? You could be hallucinating. You could
right,
easily be hallucinating somebody walking around upstairs. There's no upstairs. You're in a fucking padded room. You know, that's the mind is
damn,
so intensely like intertwined with like who you are, that
yeah,
like it's so crazy that most people miss the fact that like you and mind are like the same thing. And like that would mean like you only got those five ways to view the world, right? So that would mean that the entirety of the whole thing is just mind. That means the whole thing is just mind, which is essentially like it being a dream.
in a
But
sense,
it's like a more
yeah.
solid dream, right? You have a little
I
bit more
think
substance to it.
I always think that we are all connected, and I think in the in
Just
the
like a
early
dream.
in the early stages of humanity, when we possibly, and and it's so funny, man. I'll get into this in a minute too, but anyway, I think it happened when we got self-awareness. Uh, when we became self-aware of self and others, we obviously had self awareness. We had enough awareness of others, but maybe not enough to realize that this is my face and this is what I look like until later on. But when that happened, I think that created kind of a connection with our species when we were able to connect on a much deeper level. And the collective conscious, if you will, of the universe is how everything kind of began that way. We all came from this thing. We're all made from this thing, and we're all connected at one time. Like trees cannot communicate with one another. When they grow, their root system, they send out chemicals. They actually communicate. Flowers do the same thing. It's crazy.
Yeah,
And so that's
absolutely.
why, in fact, I learned something very fascinating. This is years and years and years ago. But did you know that when you cut your grass, you know how you get that scent when you're cutting your grass? That's the grass sending out a chemical of distress, letting the other blades of grass know that some bad shit's coming.
Oh,
You know that?
adrenaline. It's their adrenaline.
It's their
You know, I
adrenaline, man.
actually,
So that we're all like,
yeah,
we're really like, they're looking at us like we're all, you know, we're like,
we're just smelling their pain,
victory,
man.
we've cut you
Ah, that's so
down.
metal. Dude, that's so fucking metal. We're just
Right?
like,
We're like, and the
we
guitarist
love
is
the
like, all right.
smell of your grass's pain.
Yeah. The
Man, that's
tears make
brutal.
me,
That's like
right?
brutal.
But yeah, it's
I mean, I
actually,
believe that though. Yeah, I mean, it
but
makes
yeah, the
sense.
scent,
You know, it makes
yeah, it's
sense.
not just it's when you cut it, it sends a signal out. I thought it
Crazy,
was bullshit, but it's real.
crazy. Yeah,
Scientific
no,
American
I
people.
believe it. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's intense. And I mean, I agree. I agree to an extent with what you're saying. I feel that the self-awareness portion sort of definitely,
Think
you
how
know,
far that.
jump started our world in which we went, hey, like I
Whoa.
when we
I.
went, I am, right? When that I, like that I has always been there. And that's sort of like what I mean about like
Think how far
self-awareness.
back.
Like that's always been there though, even before like life on this planet. Like that
Oh yeah.
I has been there forever. And that's like I can't,
Well, the I is the
that's where it gets hard to
universe.
talk about in like in a linear aspect. That doesn't make any sense, right? But like tough shit, we're not talking linear.
You know,
So
when I talked to Trevor, it was fascinating. You know, he doesn't believe in the Big Bang Theory because he said it's always been here. I think you have also said the
I
same
agree.
thing,
It's
right?
happening. It's right now. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
happening right this
And
very second. This
what
is
I
the Big
found,
Bang.
one of the things I know I think we're still in the Big Bang, obviously, because it's still
Yeah, it's
expanding.
happening right this moment. Yeah.
But
You're it. You, you, like
hmm.
you, the one listening and the one I'm pointing at right now. You are the Big Bang right now,
Oh yeah.
happening right this second.
See, and I
Sorry, I
think
had
that
to.
it's part of. I think it's part of the Big Bang. I think all of us and the energies that we put into it are actually all part of the expansion in that way. But
And that's in linear terms, though. See,
and that's and the thing that got me thinking where uh again, this is where I get into it's I get stuck in a three-dimensional thought process, and that's and Trevor was the one that brought
are
this
you
up,
sure
and he
it's three
said,
dimensional, not four dimensional?
well,
I
no,
bet
I'll
it's
tell you
four
why I say,
dimensional.
well, I'll tell you why I say three-dimensional, and that's because when he's like, because he said, you know, I don't, if there was a big bang, then where did it go off? Where did it start? Like did it start on the left side of the nowhere, or did it start on the right side of nothing, or was it right dead square in the middle? Where in this nothing did this bang all of a sudden begin? Which puts me back into the three-dimensional properties of, okay, up, down, right, left, and I can make a box. So it had to be, where did the universe start inside this box? And that's where I'm like, okay, I got to start thinking a little bit deeper in the sense.
How about fourth dimensionally? Where in time did it start?
And that too, I mean, we can, you know, and again, okay, so we claimed that it was
Now
14 billion years ago. Okay, that's great.
it was
But
now.
where did the, see, and you're the now. And for
It
me,
was now.
because I
Well, when
have
else could it have
memories,
been?
but the now I take again back to the,
You're calling it. You're
I
like
have
you're
memories.
separating it by saying the now. Like it's this thing that I'm like this I can hold. No, it's
It
not
goes
that.
back to that. That's where I have a, I need I need more, I need to somehow open that side of my brain, and there's a curtain there right now, man, just as
Some
much
the
as the
bet,
one
dude.
behind me.
The
And that
best.
irritates me because I want to be
Right.
able to break that veil and go, oh, it's like
See,
mathematics, you
that's the
know?
thing is, what's the best way to get rid of a veil?
Smoke some weed. No, I just,
Lift it or
yeah.
drop it, right? Like
Oh yeah.
lift it or drop it. Not don't tear through it. You don't need to tear through it. That takes way more energy, right? So
Yeah.
lift it or drop it. Lifting it makes sure it's going to come back, right? Dropping it, you can leave it. And so like the thing is the best advice I can give anybody who's like running into that same kind of thing is like, well, I'm like running into this like this wall once I like like, I can't think outside three-dimensionally or think outside of like a scientific viewpoint. Well, that's because you're trying to, like, stop trying to think about something a certain way and just like let what's going on happen, and
Yeah, that's
let,
my
like,
problem is that,
without the thoughts there. You know, it's
and
just allowance, like
yeah, and
complete
again,
allowance and
that's,
acceptance is the key.
and I'm getting there because, you know, like we started off
Oh,
as
dude,
where I was saying that
you've
nothing
come
is,
so
that
far.
something is nothing and there's nothing, but
I've
then we find that
I know how John used to be like 5 years ago. You
oof.
know, that was a different guy. Like, you've come leaps and bounds. So have I.
Yeah.
You know, we've both changed
Well,
massively in
I became more of an atheist. Everybody keeps saying I'm agnostic, and I'm saying that I'm definitely more on the there's nothing there after kind of thing, which goes against, again, kind of the
that does kind
philosophy.
of go against the agnostic sort of
And
philosophy, which is that there's something, right? There's something
right,
bigger,
you know, well, it's
but
the
we're
whole,
not to know what it is, right?
we don't, yeah, and again that,
Yeah.
so to me, I'm like, you know what, I've been knocked out. And I know that what I know darkness, I know what you know, I know what nothing is, in the sense of I was completely out, and to this day
But that's still a
I'm
conceptual
still
nothing.
missing, well,
That's still an
I'm still
idea of
missing
what nothing is.
hours, I'm still missing
Nothing
hours
nothing
of the
even
event.
lacks concept. Like, nothing even lacks that. So you can't, like, think about it. You can't go, oh, I know it. I know what it's like. I've been there. No, you can't. You can't think about it. It's not something that has any consistency to think about.
Right,
It's what is happening right this second to allow all this something to be going on. And
right,
it's what you are. It's that nothing. And it's literally that. Meaning there's no shape to it. There's no size to it. There's no taste to it. There's no, like, smell to it. There's nothing to it. Like, literally, it's nothing. It
it's
literally is
nothing.
that.
And
And
that's kind of where I think we are just the energy that was, um, that is of this earth, if that makes sense. Like everything that is,
that's still something.
no, it is. It is. It's energy. It's energy in food form. It's
Yes.
energy in air form. It's energy in UV light from the sun
Right.
form. It's energy from the water. Um, and we are all part of that. Again, that
We
goes
are,
back
yes.
to,
We're both. And that's, like,
right.
if
And
you've listened to this podcast, the first thing we ever say is, like, none of this is going to make sense. And I'm going to go back and forth on what I say,
yeah.
because embracing paradox is, like, the only way you'll ever see the truth.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, you
period.
have,
It's the only way.
yeah, agreed.
And so,
Yeah.
like,
And that's why
so
I have
you
such a
are
hard
nothing
time trying to
and
get,
everything. It's both
yeah,
of the things at the same time, right?
yeah.
But, like,
And
your existence is actually the nothing. Like, your physical existence is nothing. In
oh
turn,
yeah.
letting you be everything, like, which is such a beautiful recognition. I think a lot of
If
nihilistic minds go the other way, you know?
I think if more people understood the connection they have, like, to everything, we would be in a hell of a lot better place, and
Imagine a
we
world
wouldn't
where
have
you
these leaders.
knew
We wouldn't,
that you were
yeah.
just talking to you right now. Like,
Well, then
imagine a
I
world
need to shave.
no, I'm not saying
I know what you're
John's talking to John. I'm saying you. What the thing that you feel like is John, and the thing that you guys all feel like are you, and the people that are hearing this and, like, going, oh, like, I'm hearing this, that thing that you call I. Imagine a world where every single one of us that say I am blah blah blah
Mhm.
recognized that I was the same person. Would there be war?
Oh no.
Would No, there'd be complete, like, everybody'd be like, let's make this bitch awesome.
Yeah. And
And everybody
yeah.
would win. Like, everybody would win. But, like, as long as that keeps hidden from us, as long
Oh
as
yeah.
it stays in this realm of, like, mystical nonsense fantasy kind of insanity world, then
Agreed.
nobody can see it, because nobody wants to do that. That's silly. That's just silly.
You guys are talking crazy talk.
Exactly. It's like that's a perfect place to hide it. Perfect
Oh,
place to hide it.
I have many a theory to that. It's
Yeah.
like,
I mean, let's
who wants
do
to
it.
keep
Fuck
you?
it. We can go
Yeah,
down the rabbit hole. This thing's
dude,
already not monetized, so.
I've um I mean, there is just so much out there. Like, I just,
It's
dude,
dude, there's some crazy shit going on in the world right
yeah,
now.
and
A lot of crazy stuff, and a lot of stuff that's getting
he
like
who
brought
the
to the surface.
well, and the whole thing is it's like the old saying, "He who controls the media controls the world, or controls the information controls the world." And right now, that's the media and whoever is in control of,
Facebook's doing a
and
pretty good job of it right now.
oh, aren't they
Pretty
though?
fascinating.
Yeah,
Like everybody
I think.
seems to forget that like they're a media station. Like they are
Oh yeah.
probably the
Well,
number
it's not.
one media station in the entire world right
Well, that's just it. Is that
now.
yeah?
Just
They
that and
they have
Twitter, which I think, yeah,
1/7 of the Earth's population is on Facebook. That was a couple of
that's
years
that's
ago. That
pretty
was a
crazy.
couple of years ago, and it is
That's huge. That's
that is
huge.
huge. 1/7, 1/7. That was years
That
ago.
means at least a billion
1.2
people, right?
billion.
Yeah, I
1.2
was gonna say
billion
more than
people.
that because what, we're at 8 billion people now. What are we
Yeah,
at
so
now
there's
on the
probably more
planet?
now. There's probably we're getting up into the like
Let's
1.8,
see what the population of the
1.9.
planet is right now, according to somebody. Anyways, that's not necessarily the real population because there's hopefully people out there that nobody knows about still. Hopefully, there's still like
Wow.
islands and stuff out there that nobody's ever discovered. 7.7 billion people. And it's going up and down. I'm like watching the number like
Yeah.
go up and down right now as we're speaking. It's going up quickly, which is a little
1.73.
scary. If you've ever done experiments in like a physics game, when the number goes up and doesn't maintain, that's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad thing. You run out of resources quicker that
Yep,
way.
dude.
It's just going up.
1.73. 1.73 billion daily users sign on Facebook.
Wow. That's
Daily.
insane. That's insane. That's so crazy.
1.73 billion daily active
Wow.
users
Wow.
with
I mean, I'm
2.6
guilty of it. I'm part of those
billion
users.
active.
I get on there all the time. I'm like on Facebook a lot, and I
Well,
get a
yeah,
lot
I
of my
mean, it's
news
the
from
best place to
Facebook.
market.
It's quick. I don't spend a whole lot of time. I don't like sit on there for hours, but I'll hop on there and like quickly browse through my news feed and be like, "Oh, some crazy shit's going on today," or
Yeah.
and if
That's the
I
only
find something worthwhile posting about, usually about this topic, then I'll post it. But outside of that, I kind of try to stay away from
Do you know where
Facebook
I
because
get
it's
my new?
damaging. It's
Oh
damaging
yeah.
to your. It's
Do you
like an
know where I
addiction.
get my
It's
news?
like if I what?
I get my news from Facebook, and the only way I look into it.
It's live. I look at Facebook Live because that's
Nope,
like
I don't look at
happening.
Facebook Live. What I do is when I start seeing the same article from more than 3 people, like the Supreme Court,
Same.
uh, with the LGBTQ
You're
rights.
talking identical though. Are you talking the identical article?
That's yeah. I mean, not just identical, but like they have similar wording, and then I look at the news source and I see that they come from different news sources.
Yes,
And at that point, then I'm like, okay, I'll take a look at it.
those are
I don't pay
credible. Yeah,
attention
those
to
are a little bit
memes,
more
dude.
credible.
Memes are the dumbest things. I make memes,
Yeah, I
and
do
I'm an
too.
idiot. So why in God's name am I gonna have people follow me?
Yeah, no, for sure,
It's like
for
when I
sure.
make a meme, it's for a joke, but there are people out there that
They're making
do it
like
just to be
political memes and
slanderous
like, yeah.
douches.
Hmm.
And the worst part of it, here's the worst part of it, and this is what I keep telling people: stop using memes as a source of information, you fuckwit. Stop
Yeah,
using memes as a
yeah. Go.
goddamn
Well, people
source
don't know how to
for
research.
information. It's like, oh, it just sums it up. No, it doesn't. I can make a meme of a cat and somebody saying this is a cow, and people are going to laugh at it, and then they're going to share it, and that's going to create information. I don't care, you know, what these people said or anything like that. Anybody can make a meme, and it's used for the wrong purposes, to
Absolutely.
mislead
Yeah.
and create
Yeah.
misinformation.
Yeah.
And it
And
happens
I
on
think
both
I think there's
sides.
weaponized memes out
It's
there. I think
weaponized.
there's specifically
Oh,
that are created
absolutely.
by corporations, like big corporations that
The
have these advertisers
Oh
that
yeah,
make these little
governments.
goofy memes that don't matter, right? Oh, this doesn't matter at all. It's fine. It's just a meme. But
Yeah,
it's like it does matter because it's a testy meme. And there's trolls out there that will use that meme just because it gets a good rise out of people.
yep,
But it gets that rise going and divides things, and it gets
yep,
people hating a certain company or hating a
right.
certain brand
Or
or hating a certain industry,
worse yet,
hating each
making
other.
them, the worst part of it is making them believe it. Forget about
And making
the
them believe
hate.
that that's like
It
true.
is causing people
The meme
to
is true.
actually believe
Yeah.
the wrong thing. And yeah, you're gonna have people, and again, you're gonna have the people out there that take it to the hate level, and then they get all mad, and then they become keyboard warriors and all that.
Keyboard warriors, though, in person,
Are
those are
funny.
pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like
I love,
I would
you
love to
know,
see that person say that to my face.
that's and I make sure that I put that out on my page all the time. It's like, hey, if you can't say it to my face,
Yeah.
don't say
Would
it
you
on
say
here.
that at the gas station when you run into me? Like, or
Hey, speaking of, I ran into my good friend Peter Van Horn at a gas station,
and how
and
were you guys?
we hugged, and
Were you
because
guys all
again,
divisive and politically charged?
oh no, I mean we started talking a little bit, but we were
I'm sure you
laughing
guys
in each
made a
other's
little. I'm sure you guys
faces.
made a little jabs, right?
Oh, of
But then
course
you
we
laughed.
did.
You literally laughed right
We
after
love
the
each
jab,
other.
though. See,
We will
yeah.
start something up on Facebook.
You
People
guys
don't.
will get, yeah, you guys will get brutal with each other. But
I
see,
know.
if you don't know the behind the scenes, like I know you guys also will probably privately message each other and work and be fine.
Oh
You know?
no, that's
Yeah,
exactly
be
what we do. In
completely fine
fact,
because it's about the show, right? It's about the show of like, hey, it's these two
that's
can't
all
stand
about.
each other.
It's all about the show. That's
It's
why
like
we
the
like
Axl
EP.
Rose and Vince Neil thing, like for a while that was real. And then it wasn't, and they were fine, but they kept the feud going because it fucking gives good press. It's good press. It keeps
Crew
it
and
keeps the
Roses
story
and
going.
yep.
Yeah, it keeps the
Yeah.
story going. It
Well, and
keeps
that's just
the name
it.
on people's lips.
Yeah, I mean Peter Van Horn and I, we'll start up
You
a
guys are great.
shitstorm, and
I
then
love
the
it.
next thing you know, it's like,
You know,
well,
one of my
yeah, but then I'll message him behind the scenes, and we'll just be laughing.
yeah, you
We're
guys
like,
will be
dude, I
good.
can't believe this is going crazy, and we're just like,
One of my favorite shit stirrers online is Mr. Clint. I won't share his last name, but you know who I'm talking about.
I
And
have
he
to. Has he continued on with the? I haven't.
No, not anything like super intense, but I mean he's
Not like
always
that
looking to
last
push
time.
people's buttons. Not like that. Well, he hasn't. Let me put it. I'll say this. He has. He's actually said stuff that I would consider worse than that thing
Really?
that he said. However,
Wow.
but it's a joke. And I know it's a joke, right? So I'm in the behind the scenes where I know Clint really well. And
Yeah.
he's not that way. In real life, he's a teddy bear. He's such a sweet guy.
I know.
And so I know it's all just a big show, And so when I see that stuff, I brush it off. So, but the one that I thought was worse didn't get as much recognition as that other one because it didn't hit the right buttons to the right person. That's the thing, right? It's all subjective. The entirety of all of our lives is subjective. There's not an objective reality. That doesn't exist. There's not such a thing. There's only subjective reality, period.
Yeah.
Period. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter if you're the whole universe and that's your fucking point of view. That's still subjective from the universe's point of view.
Yeah.
Everything is viewed subjectively. So
Yep.
no matter what, everything, can be looked at in a different way. And I think that's a big thing with social media is that a lot of people you can't sense sarcasm through text.
I
And a
make laughy
lot of people
faces.
are sarcastic, but
My
a lot of people
sarcasm
are
is
dead
putting
face
laughy
sarcasm,
faces.
right? But deadpan sarcasm, where you
That's
don't reveal that you're being sarcastic, is like abundant right now. And I think a
that's
lot of
what my
people don't get
that's what my
that.
family experiences on a daily basis.
and
I said, get the dishes done now. And they're like, are you serious?
are
I'm
you
like,
are you being real with me, or are you like,
just
are you really
raise the
mad?
eyebrow a little bit. And then they're just like, oh, okay, you're kidding. And I'm like, kidding? They don't know, but yeah.
Jordan's pro at that. Like he'll pull the deadpan all the time, and I'm like,
I
are you good? And he's like, I'm like, I don't know if you're good or not, man. Like, usually when he lets it go for like 2 minutes, I'm like, okay, he's fine. I remember my cousin actually played dead one time in the kitchen. I was impressed. It was amazing. He did it for like 23 minutes, I think. It wasn't quite 30 minutes. I remember that, but it was over 20 minutes. And we were just like, my mom was there, and I believe his wife was there at the time as well. So like he was just, but he just like,
wow,
he fell down as a joke. Yeah, well, he fell down as a joke, right? Because like I'd said something, and I think I went to high five him or something, and he like fainted, right? Instead of high fiving me, and he just like laid on the ground, but he did it with his eyes open, and like for real, he did it with his eyes open, and he just fell backwards. I was like, "Is he okay? Like, what's going on?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's fine. It's just he's just fine." I won't say his name just in case he doesn't want me to. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And he just was like laid there, and like we fucked with him for like a bit, and he just didn't move. And we finally, I think we left the room, and he still just laid there. And we came back, he's still there, and we ended up leaving and forgetting about him. And he ended up getting up like a couple minutes later, and we were like, "Are you good? Like, are you good?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" And he had this shit-eating grin on his face, So we knew he wasn't like hurt. We didn't need to like call the doctor or anything,
Yeah.
But like he was, he's good at that stuff. He was always good at that stuff.
Dang, that's hilarious, man. So yeah,
Takes dedication,
right? Yeah. Oh man. Oh well, yeah. No, another story altogether. But anyway,
another story altogether.
no, I was gonna bring up one of our films, but it's all good.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, no need.
Different conversation.
Different conversation. It's not.
Different conversation.
I'm not. It to me. I'm not one for. I already plugged GMR and all that.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I
You
mean?
you can plug your you do films too. These folks know I do films.
It's just off the
Go
cuff
for it.
and all that.
Go for it. So what? This whole show's off the cuff, man.
I know, but I'm not like that. I like keeping it.
Wow, man. I'm giving you free advertising on your own radio station.
All right.
You're not.
I just don't like being the.
Do it.
That reminds me of a movie
we
filmed just last week.
No, go for it. Yeah, let's go for it.
I just like being real, man. It's not like self promotion and shit. But anyway,
yeah,
so
go for it. That's it. It came up. It came up in your mind. It was valid.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. So we're getting ready to put out Polygamy Gone Wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, that's gonna be it's gonna be one of the it's one for the ages, man. Even I mean, City of Salt was amazing. With your help, thank you, Jordan and Paul and everybody, your cousins, everybody, man, your family, everybody stepped up and helped out.
Ryan, man, Ryan's fucking G.
Yeah,
Ryan helped me like film that whole fucking thing, man.
That boy stepped up.
He's a fucking G.
Everybody did.
He came and did paperwork for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're looking at trying to get him back if we can. So because he just so phenomenal. But anyway, no. yeah, City of Salt. It was a lot of fun, but Polygamy, man, is you know, it, it's just one of those. It's just one of those films that even now, just like we're up to 16 minutes on it, and it just throws me off. And I started thinking about I don't want to get really too in depth with it right now, but just some of the footage that we got. It's going to be in black and white. I'll at least say that much. And it's haunting and pretty weird, man. I'm not one for a lot of horror films and stuff like that, but this one is going to be pretty phenomenal.
Cool.
Great group of people, and we got some of the other people now. We've got this other project that we're putting together, and that's going to some pretty cool executives in California. So
Cool.
pretty
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
about that. I
I'm
think.
excited to hear about that one.
Hey, speaking of,
good timing, right? Yeah.
right? The boss, you got to come
Hi.
down because it's.
It's just getting your boobs right now. There we go. Good. How are you? Miss you too. I'm good. How are you doing?
Because you've got headphones. But
Oh,
yeah, it's true.
Oi.
Hey.
What's new,
How are you?
man? You guys start
you
proper
know.
yet?
Oh no, not yet. Not yet.
Do they have like a timeline or?
I haven't heard. Haven't heard yet. Yeah.
Cool.
We're just doing the podcast right now.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, good to see your smiling face. That made
you too.
Gotta go back to work. I love you.
Okay, love you too, honey. Okay. Okay. Sweet.
But yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those so we've got.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys are doing with that one you were just talking about.
Polygamy, and then the new
one.
No,
the new one that you got going on. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what you guys got. Yeah, it should be cool to see. I'm excited to see that.
It's going to be great. But yeah, anyway, no, I don't know why that came into my mind. We were talking about something and it kind of triggered.
No worries, man. It's cool. Like movies, I love movies. I love talking about movies. Obviously, I love making movies too. You know this. I'm actually, while we're at little shout outs, we're working on Army of Salt right now, which is the full-length documentary about the making of City of Salt, which is going to be awesome to put together. We're culling through all the footage to see kind of the gems and kind of to guide our interview questions.
How is it coming? How do we all look?
It's coming along.
Do we look
You guys look awesome, man. You guys all look like a group of people that just wanted to fucking make a movie, man. And there's a lot of dedication to it, and it's really cool to see.
You were part of it, man. I mean,
it's cool to see such a big group of people like come together as like one to like make it happen. Especially for like, I mean, it was not very expensive, It was really like a lot of people volunteered their time, and so it's really cool to see, such an army of volunteers that are like willing to like rock and roll it all. So.
Hell yeah. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the earlier stages of human beings when they were just in small tribes and all that, and they were all able to connect, and they were all connected to the world a hell of a lot more than we are today. And that really is kind of what that film was, is it was a bunch of people.
It was miracles. It was miracles happening.
It was miracles, man. It was
absolutely. If you didn't believe in miracles happening or like the divine intervention or whatever you want to call it, coincidence, I suppose, for an atheist, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that was a perfect example of, and that's what that film's going to show. Army of Salt is going to show that sort of magic sort of happening before your eyes. A lot of crazy stuff happened on there too. There was some scares. There were some, some not scares. There were some really cool, funny times. There were some really emotional times. You sort of, me and Jordan kind of cruised through the footage, and at the end of it, he's like, he's like, whoa. I was like, I know, man. I mean, it's a whirlwind. Huh? Well, it's just a whirlwind. It was quite the venture. It was 16 days. Of filming, you know, not to mention the other stuff like locations and production meetings and all that stuff. And so we're excited to be able to put all that together and sort of show the world like that it's possible. Like I keep seeing people talking about like, you can't make a film like with no money, which is true. You can't make a film for free. It's impossible to make a film for free.
Yeah.
But you can make a very, very good feature production for very, very low amount of money, as long as you have the right people with the right mentality. See, and some people rocked it. Some people lasted awesome on that set. Some people didn't.
Everybody, yeah.
You know, that's just how it is, you know. But if you find the right people and you find the right circumstances and you find the right mission statement, right? You find the right purpose, the right reason to make this thing, right?
Yeah.
Which this movie, City of Salt, was made with a very, very beautiful purpose behind it. I think that's why it was made the way it was.
Agree.
You know, that's why it was even made, is because of its purpose and its reasoning. Sorry, I got like this flying.
Yeah. No,
but like, it's beautiful.
It's true. It's literally a film made by the human spirit. For
Absolutely.
The human spirit, for that
Absolutely.
matter, you know? It was, you know, and when we got towards the end, everybody had runner's fatigue, man. There's no way of looking at it any other way than it was like,
we were all spent, but it was so worth it, you know.
I mean,
like if I were to be able to go back in time and go, you know, you got the option to not do this, or you got the option to do this, I'd do it all again completely. No questions asked. I'd do it again. I learned so much on that set.
Oh yeah, man, it was an absolute amazing experience, and so the learning experience and the heart and soul that everybody put into it, I can't even express the level of gratitude and awesomeness and camaraderie. It really was, to me, one of the most intense human experiences, working with such amazing people and putting together this message and all that. I've ever experienced. We've all been in bands, and we all know when you get the hair on the back of your neck when you're, you know, at practice, and you hit the right chord, you hit the right note, you're singing the song,
and you all look at each other and they go,
did we just do that?
Was that us?
That right? We recorded.
We were recording, right? And the answer is always no.
Yeah,
no,
it's always no.
We didn't hit record.
Okay, let's hit the record button.
All right, well, we got it this time, and it never comes back.
Never.
You know why? I can tell you why.
Lay it on me.
Because you're trying to get it to come back. The reason it happened in the first place is because you guys went, fuck it. Whatever happens this time works. And all of you did that. Everyone in the band went, fuck it. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And that was when the magic just happened. It's letting go. That's where the magic is. That's where the juice is, you know?
That's the something about nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
making something,
stepping out of your own way.
Because you're not giving a shit. It's a nothing thing. It's a nothing moment. You're in the now.
Yeah.
And
you are the now. You are the now in its entirety. There's no care. Once there's no you left, there's no cares left. Why would you? And I'm not saying like, oh, you know, this is a reason to like shirk off responsibilities. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is
so there's no such thing as bills.
Right. Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean is like the identification with this is me, right? Like once that goes away, you don't have anything to defend anymore. There's nothing that's defending. Therefore, like, well, whatever goes on is cool. And like, if you really get what I'm saying there and you play along, like you won't regret it. I promise, you know?
And that goes back to my three-dimensional mind. It's like, okay, I can get A, B, and C. Now you're asking me to put in D.
Nope.
And what the fuck?
Nope. I'm asking you to take the eraser and erase the equation, and then recognize what's left over.
I just want to walk through a wall.
Once you recognize what's left over, like zero is left over.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, and that goes
the
back
actual
to,
zero too, because you could write zero, right? But that's just a circle. Which notice a circle is zero because it's infinite. It's zero. It's zero. It's unity. It's there's no start to a circle. Where's the side of a circle?
well, yeah. But that now let's take it to a different realm though. What if you are now and let me take it one more step further than that.
You haven't even taken the first step.
I know. Well, so mathematics, I think, is the universal language. I think mathematics, and I took it from contact, but there is a lot of truth to that. My dad is a scientist. He always hangs around scientists. So I listened to these debates all the time growing up. But so science, mathematics is really the true language, because English probably does not exist on another planet.
Correct.
But 0 and 1 do. 1 plus 1 will always equal 2, no matter what.
As long as the conceptual framework's there, yes. But
Right,
that's the same as any language. So numbers are still a language.
So numbers are still the basic language. And so you got 1.
But yes, I get what you mean.
Is 2. I mean, you can't change that.
Right.
1, and then there's another 1, but that gives me 2. I can take that to any other planet, any other life form, and say this and this.
Before you get too deep into this rabbit hole, you're still talking about like the number 0, right? I'm talking about erasing the entire equation, including the number 0, and recognizing that is true 0.
And so the true 0 is still
outside all numbers.
Something.
It's before all numbers. It's before every one of them.
But again, on another planet, 0
it's still
could be
still before all numbers. Completely. It's still before 0 even. The actual presence of 0 is before itself even.
Okay.
Because it's not there. It's not there first, and then it's there. It's not there, and then all of a sudden it's 0, right? So it's not there. That's the real state of 0. Then it becomes 0, right? Which is something. It's 0.
So you're taking away 0.
Yes, completely, and it's nothing, and it's what's left over, and it's the thing that everything is.
Okay.
And it's both of those. It's 0 and it's the before 0, right? There's the nothing that it has to start at. Then all of a sudden there's a 0, right? And that 0 would still be something, even though it's 0, right? And in a mathematical conceptual sense, that could be construed as nothing, but it's still not nothing. It's something. It's 0. Like it's that thing before that I keep calling nothing, but it's not. Like I can't put a name to it, because then it's something. It's that absence of things. That's what I'm speaking about when I talk about nothing, which I think a lot of minds get stuck in that. Well, he must be talking about 0. He's talking about this thing. And I'm talking about before that.
Right. And that's where that would be the so follow along with me, if you will, here for
You're good. You're good. Go for it.
So 0, 0 is also the infinite power that created what we see. Okay. And it is an infinite amount of energy because it was formed from nothing. Therefore, it was infinite power to create.
Absolutely, nothing. Yes. Correct.
And therefore, that's why it's still expanding. What I find interesting, and I don't know what the deal is here with scientists, are so slow, but I knew from the beginning, even as a kid, that the center of our galaxy was a black hole. But what I found fascinating when they finally figured this out and all that, and they're like, well, why doesn't it just suck up our entire galaxy?
It is.
What's interesting, it is, but it's not just, I mean, by now it would have sucked us all up as it goes. But the density, and I guarantee you, unless it's already come out and I haven't heard about it, but they can't figure out, why it doesn't just eat everything up, and that it takes it in spurts, eats it, and then shoots out from both ends the protons or whatever the hell they are. Photons. But the density of the black hole equals the amount of mass that is spinning around it, if that makes sense.
Okay, that does make sense.
So the same amount of atomic mass of all of our planets and all the stars and everything that's swirling around. So let's say my mic right here is the black hole. Everything around this amount of mass equals this same amount, and that's why it's
so they
not.
balance each other out. Yeah.
So they're balancing each other out. I also think that the
symbiotic
our
nature
black
of the
hole
universe
also dictates our time.
I agree. Yeah.
So
well, why wouldn't
the
it?
amount of gravity is
the sun dictates our time.
Well, no, this goes into a deeper molecular time frame. So this is another one of my crazy theories, but so
it's all right. I don't think time exists. So that's that's a really crazy theory.
I believe in time travel. I think it's possible.
I do too, but in an odd way. I'll tell you mine too.
It takes an infinite. It will take an infinite amount of power to be able to go faster than the speed of light.
Right.
Okay, the speed of light is what regulates us right now.
Totally,
we can see light because we're just under. I mean, it seems like a lot, but the fact that we can see light, like right now at my window, the reflections and everything.
Yeah, I've got the window right here too.
Right, and so you can come down, and so we can see light, but to take it to another extreme real quick, you can stop light too. You can freeze light and a beam of light, and they were actually been able to stop it and then go. Now, when you want to get to absolute zero, you can get it. Right here on Earth, we have a laboratory that can create almost absolute zero. We can create something that is colder than anywhere in the entire universe. Right here on this planet, we have a laboratory that's actually been able to take something even colder than the coldest spot in our universe. So it's right here on Earth that we can do that. But to get to absolute zero is zero, right?
I'd love to know how they measured the whole fucking universe too.
So
I'd love to know how they measured the whole universe.
Well, what they did is they did an actual scan all the way around, and they went out to find, and there's one spot in the universe.
Give it 50 years, they'll be like, oh, we fucked up. There's actually a colder spot.
But they found a pocket that was almost absolute zero. It was like it was colder than the majority of the universe is something like 3 degrees above absolute zero. And this one spot was like 1.2 degrees, and we actually got.
So what is absolute zero? Just
absolute zero is zero. Like you can't get any colder. It's where molecular structures come to a complete stop.
So then like Fahrenheit or Celsius, what would that be? Because that's what we speak on Earth.
It's in the kelvins. So
okay, so it's
in the kelvins. Yeah, it's like,
well, but explain. Yeah, see if you can find a thing, because like there's people that listen to the show that like have no clue what a Kelvin is.
Yeah, okay.
To be honest with you, I don't fully know what a Kelvin is. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so on the Kelvin scale, it's the lowest temperature and the theoretical possibilities at which the motion of particles that constitutes heat would be minimal in 0 Kelvin scale, which is the equivalent of minus 273.15 Celsius or minus 459.67 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So
that's pretty fucking cold.
So what they're doing though is the amount of energy that it takes them in kilowatts to get it that low, right,
is infinite.
And then you have to take it by the point, and you just keep having it and halving it and halving it and halving
right
it. And that's the problem.
Well, that's a paradox, right? It's a paradox. If you have something when does it end? It never does.
It
And
never
if you
does.
half your end result,
So it's an
you'll
infinite
always
amount
be
of,
halving. Yeah.
right. So it's an infinite amount of power. They have to keep bringing in more and more power to bring it closer and closer to absolute zero, right? And to hit it, you have to just keep halving it and halving it and halving it and halving it, and until you just can't half it anymore, or quarters, 16th,
Sorry, we can't half it.
trillionth, you know, and you just continue to go. And it's the same thing with with going faster than the speed of light. You have to have an infinite amount of power to be able to break that scale. And as we know, we've talked about this in the past, that everything that we're doing right now and everything that we're hearing is the past, because it takes time for our brains to process it by like just a couple of milliseconds, but that still is in the past. And that's kind
it's
of
really true for our listeners, because
right. So you've got,
it's not, though. That's the funny thing, is it's not really in the past. Like,
just
it's still
imagine,
happening now.
So this,
But
so
like
this
the
is
processing is like in the past. It's still in like a mental past, though.
right.
Like it's
So
still in a mental past.
So think of the now, like you're talking about, and imagine how much energy it takes all the time.
You can't think of the now like I'm talking about.
Well, but check this out.
Just to be clear,
it kind of ties into this, and I'll tell you why. Because imagine the amount of energy it takes to get from the past to the future, which is the now, and combining them together to create the present, right? And the amount of power that it takes to get through to the future. So you're crushing and putting all of this energy into the now, which is your now, which trying to pierce that veil to get to the future is infinite amount of energy. So that's the only
impossible.
thing. Until we can get to that point of getting
impossible. I think, and that's
to break into the future. We can get into the to get into the past, you have to go faster than the speed of light, because then you can actually go back this way. Whereas if you wanted to go into the future, you have to come to an absolute zero, come to a stop, and then everything else is going to go flying by you. And then you unthaw, or you speed your molecules back up and brings you back, and everything is now ahead. And you've been in stasis. But to go into the past, you have to have an infinite amount of power to pierce the now and be able to go back. There's my.
I like that. I like your theory. It's a good theory.
And that goes into the black hole theory, that it is regulating our time. Time in another galaxy that has a bigger black hole might be faster, because the amount of energy is regulated by that black hole.
Right, and I got you.
So
my theory. So I think I can kind of, like, my theory will somewhat tie in with yours, actually. I would argue there's not time. There's just the now. Period. That's it. The now.
Yeah, I mean, time.
I don't like calling it the now.
That's man-made, but that, you know.
Right. It's a conceptual design, right? So what I feel is time travel is what's happening right now. You're actually time traveling right now.
Oh yeah.
And I think that before you were John, you were, God, who knows what, you could have been somebody from, 3078. You could have been somebody from the 16th century. You could have been a fucking dinosaur from the fucking Cretaceous period. Who knows what you were before John, You were the moment. I can guarantee you were now. You were the moment. You were that.
Mm-hmm.
But what you were illusory being, is that right? Illusory being? Whatever. What you were being in an illusion sense, right?
Elusively.
Is, I get, right? That's more like, elusive means like in a way in which it's like evading almost. So it's like,
okay. I'm
more thinking like you tricked yourself, right? Just like you've tricked yourself that you're John, and I've tricked myself I'm Daniel. That self, that I that I'm talking about, they're the same thing. That I that calls itself John and the I that calls itself Daniel, they're both the same I. And they've just forgotten that. And so they're both time traveling right now, because they're both the same thing. They're both each other. Like, so the only way that's even possible is to time travel. Like, in order for Daniel to live John's life, he's going to have to either do it before or after Daniel's existence, right?
Yeah.
And if it's afterwards, then that means he's going to go back to, when were you born? Sorry to date you, but
71.
71. He's going to have to go back to 1971 and be born as John, right? In an instant, in a fucking blink, like you go to bed and you wake back up and you're a fucking John. You know, well, I had great luck with it. Look,
true story.
It's me right now. I just said true story. Like, I did a damn good job at time traveling. It happened.
It's true.
The thing is we've forgotten that, intentionally, of course. Intentionally.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
Like, I successfully time traveled, and it just clicked for me. In John's seat, it just clicked. Oh, that's okay. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, if you ask me how time travel works, and that would actually support your theory too, by the way, because there's only enough infinite energy to make it happen now. And I don't mean right this very, very second, and there it goes. I'm talking the one that hasn't left, the one that's continually moving forward or backward or whatever fucking direction you want to call it. It's this one. And this one has enough power to go back in time or forward in time or up in time or sideways in time, whatever the fuck it wants to do.
Yeah.
And the proof is in the pudding. I'm being John right now. And guess what, John? You're being me.
I need to shave.
But that's my theory. That's my theory of time travel. Is essentially this.
Shave all this today.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna start fresh, just cause.
Fresh.
Yeah, because I did a Zoom call yesterday with my family down in Brazil.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the lighting, but it was probably just my face. You know. But man, I was looking at myself and I'm like, damn, I am looking haggard. Like, I got cousins that are in their 70s and
I don't care how I look.
Well, I don't care either, but damn, man, I got cousins in their 70s that look younger than me, and I'm like, man, have I had a rough
I don't care how I look either, but man, I looked bad.
I don't care how I look. I just look horrible.
I just posted something on Facebook the other day. It said, what it was something along those same lines. It was like, basically like, I get this, but
I got this one that I said was, I said I'd be perfect if I wasn't so humble.
There you go. Yeah, no, I had said, me lying to yourself and wanting what isn't is the quickest way to sorrow.
Oh, I saw that.
I understand. I just wish that.
Yeah, I just wish that. Yeah. That's my life.
You don't understand.
That's my life on a daily, just so you know. I'm like, life is great. If I only had.
Yeah. But if it was this way, it would be better. And that's the thing is, like, a lot of people would like say that same thing. They'd be like, oh, I do that all the time. And then you'd go, well, see, you're creating your own suffering. And they'd say, fuck you, man. I'm not. It's my job. It's my fucking.
Yeah. Yeah, I love those people.
Okay. That's one of my favorite things I've ever seen.
Fuck you, I'm not angry.
Yeah, fuck you, I'm not mad. No, one of my favorite things I've seen is the guru tells the teacher, the best way to the secret to life is to not argue with stupid people. And one of his disciples says, I disagree. And the guru says, you're correct. Because the guru knows, that the only person that's going to be, in the shitty situation there that's not already is himself if he gives into that, He's, all right, okay, you're right. My favorite response during an argument is okay, because it pisses people off, and it's like, that's the winning one, because guess what? I'm dropping it. They're not. And
dude, I can't.
I'm good. I'm dropped. I'm good.
It's like I wrote this book a long time ago, and it was called 12 Steps to Doom, and it was leading up to every breakup and all that. But I always use the same examples. But the one thing that I always said and thing I've always noticed is the nuclear bomb of any argument is the word whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. No, whatever is a good one.
You can be,
K tends to be one too. K.
One? K.
K.
Yeah. K.
Like, ooh.
Yeah.
Or
it's
fine.
It's like,
or
okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
I can deal with it's fine because then I know, but it's when you're right in the middle of it and you're taking the lead of the argument. It's like, you're like,
whatever, yeah.
Like the two of you are battling it out, and then all of a sudden you're like, you get one good blow in there. It's like, yeah, I got this one. And it's like, whatever. It's like,
oh,
it's over. How do you get out of that kind of an argument? You know,
you don't.
Like, whatever.
You just drop it, and then you realize that you fucked up because whatever just won the argument. So you just lost the battle.
What do you want for dinner?
Because guess what? Whatever is. Because guess what? Whatever is. Whatever is. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Okay. I give up. I don't care to be right anymore. You can win.
Oh, it's just. Yeah, it's an oof statement for sure. Yeah. Whatever.
But yeah. I mean, and the thing is like, you only stress yourself out in those situations if you keep an argument going and stuff. And
oh yeah, no, forget
there's
about it.
There's no need.
Man.
But
no need for
But yeah, movies, man. Back to movies real quick. I just kind of wanted to wrap that up. We kind of wrapped the show up a little bit too.
Yeah.
But the beauty of movies, and sort of what I was like, we can chat about movies the whole time, is like movies are such a beautiful analogy to sort of what's going on, right? Because there's the movie, then there's the story of the movie, and there's the characters in the movie and all that. But then there's the screen, right? And there's a lot of like layers to a movie. And there's like the character, right, is like the first layer. And then you've got the story that the character exists in. Then you've got the actors that make that happen and the directors that make the actors scene. Then you have the writer who wrote the story, right? And then you've got the fucking like movie itself. And like recognizing that without like the screen and without like the thing that you're like viewing it all on, it's all pointless and none of it exists. Like I love that analogy because like that's the nothing I'm talking about. Just like a screen is transparently nothing so that it can see whatever's happening on the screen, right? In the movie, the screen, it's not happening on the screen. It's happening through the screen, right? The screen is the reason it's happening.
Dude,
just like
is a perfect example of that right now.
Yeah,
we're looking
right
at each
now.
other right now,
exactly
on a screen. And
through pixels that are forming,
chairs watching the screen of what we have done in the past, and they're enjoying us.
Exactly. And without this screen happening, right, there's no podcast going on. I mean, audibly, like on the station, right? If it's like you're listening,
still something though.
And you're not watching, that's the screen. The audio is the screen.
Yeah.
And like the thing is like that's what I'm pointing out right here is that like consciousness in its entirety is the screen. And like that is that nothing. Like consciousness is actually nothing. Physically, it is actually nothing. And that is what you are. You are that nothing. You are consciousness in its entirety. Experiencing experience.
Oh yeah.
Period.
Dude, I could pick my phone up right now and call you on my phone, and then we could see how much time lapse it is between a cellular service and what we're getting through our mobile device on audio versus,
and they're different, and they're
video,
different. And if you were in the room, it'd be different.
It would still be different.
But it's all caught. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all caught through that fucking, that little knob, that frequency knob, that thing going, well, I'm gonna tune into the room, and if I tune into my room, I see that it's nice and empty. I mean, not really, there's a lot of stuff in here, but there's nobody in here. It's just me in here, me, my instruments, my incense, it's just that's it. But like, there's also this computer here where there's this pattern happening I call it John, you know, there's
It's
audio
me.
stuff happening in here. You know, you have probably a similar experience right now.
Yeah. No,
We're the same thing. We're the same thing experiencing in different times. And that's why, I mean, like when I say different times, like obviously it's the same now, right? It's the same time, but it's not. They're different nows though. I promise they're different nows.
What I
You know,
find
and
so fascinating is that we're able to talk on the fly in real time, and we can, it's like, you know, when you watch the news and it's satellite, and the news anchor asks the reporter a question, and they're like, so how's the
they're
weather
like,
out there, Bill? And they're just standing there. Oh, well,
yeah, it's
really
great.
good.
It's great.
Yeah. You know, it's like, it's really sunny out here, Bob. You know, it's, but here, you and I, we're really communicating on the fly, and reacting like as if you were sitting right across the table from me.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely phenomenal, and where we're at today.
Yeah, we've come so far. I have this video game. It's really cool. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'd come back to it.
I was just going to say that I had family when I first started Utah Musicians, and said, yeah, I want to do online radio. And this is when it was before, you know, I mean, iTunes was really the
it
only
wasn't
thing
popular,
out there.
yeah.
And they're engineers, they're electrical engineers. And they laughed me off, and they said, do you know how much data that's going to take for them to send that kind of,
I mean, they're not wrong.
Phone? They weren't wrong, but at the time they thought it was crazy that much bandwidth was going to be pumped out through a phone back in 2009.
Yeah.
And
now look at us.
They laughed me off. I said, you want to help? And they're like, it's not possible. And I'm just like, everything's possible. And I even told them, I wagered them. I said, I guarantee you in 10 years, you're going to have internet. You're going to be watching movies on the internet. And they're like, that's way too much bandwidth. This is before Netflix and all this other shit. I said, oh no, you're going to have regular TV. You're going to start watching CBS, NBC. I said, everything is going to be on the internet, and cable companies are going to be the monsters of the industry. It's not going to be anything else. It's going to be the internet companies, because they're going to be pumping everything out. Right. And they laughed me off. And I said, okay, well, here we are. 2020,
here we are.
I can go stand on the top of the mountain and listen to my radio station in Zimbabwe. I can sit here and talk to you on the fly with digital,
like we're in the same
using
room,
gigabits, man, you know.
Oh yeah. We use a lot for sure.
It's amazing what we've got today.
It's amazing. It's fascinating. Like, and it actually leads into what I was going to talk about, which is like, I've got this video game. I've got PlayStation 4, right? Which, look at that. Like when I was little, you know, when the N64 came out, like that was like the big thing, right? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I had the tape player where you hit rewind and record to save your data on a cassette. That's how.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Or whatever the hell it was. Anyway,
but yeah, I remember when the Nintendo 64 came out, like that was such a groundbreaking machine. And then the PlayStation was like rocking the world too, you know. And I was like, wow. And now I play it, right? And I'm just like, this is almost real life, right? But I'm playing this game right now. That kind of leads into that, because it's like the technology is just incredible now. But this game I've got, it's called Ancestors, and it's really cool. So what it is, it's called Ancestors: The Humankind Odyssey. And it's funny you keep talking about, you know, when we first became sort of self-aware, because that's literally where this game starts, is like when us as apes became self-aware. Like, if I pick this fucking rock up and I smack it against this fucking rock, like a spark happens, which is kind of crazy. What would happen if I were to hit this against a coconut? And like we started like busting coconuts open and eating them, right? And going, holy shit, this is awesome. And like started sharpening sticks so we could fight off predators. And like that's literally what this game is. You're just like this clan of monkeys.
That's awesome.
It starts right at the beginning. Like you just kind of like have recently been like, like you can start picking shit up and going like, what's going on? You know, what's this? And you can only go so far before you like get freaked out, because you don't know the unknown, you know? and shit gets scary in the game. It gets like really intense, like you're going to get attacked. And if you do it for too long, you go into hysteria and you got to run back to your camp. So like you're literally discovering the world as the very first kind of like humans, right? The first apes that were like, you know, I can walk like this, or I could stand up. And they kind of walk around all on 2 feet, and then they kind of collapse back over because they're like, whoa, you know, but hey, I can do more if I'm standing this way. And it's really cool game. You should check it out a little bit. Go check some YouTube stuff out about it. I think you'd really dig it. Yeah, I dig it so far. It's very confusing. They basically, it's super realistic in the sense of they drop you in the middle of this game.
Oh, wow.
And that's basically it. They give you quick little, like, do this. You need to do this to make this happen. And then you have to go figure out how to do that. And, like, they don't give you a whole lot of controls. Like, they give you it all, but you have to kind of go search them and go find them. And, like,
right.
I'm still figuring out. Yeah, I'm still figuring out a lot of stuff. I mean, YouTube's a great resource too. Like if you're frustrated with games that are like, you know, puzzly, but you like still want to play the game. Like I don't get frustrated with puzzle games. What I do is I'll usually like play it and then I'll go, if I run into it and I'm still doing it after like 4 or 5 times, then I'll go like look on YouTube and see how to do it, you know, and then it'll progress me to the next level, which keeps me interested in the game. Cause I think a lot of people will play games and they'll get bored with them. Right.
No, dude, I can't do video games. It's got to be like, what's that one where you travel to all the different planets and you can go like,
oh, No Man's Sky. Yeah.
No Man's Sky. I heard
love that.
See, and I'm all about that. I'm all about traveling to different places. And I like the fact that they utilize like it's a different star. It has more, you know, bigger planets. So
different planets,
or whatever. That's
got moons on some. Dude, they've updated No Man's Sky like crazy too. Like you can actually ride animals now, and like
no kidding.
Yeah,
so
like it's awesome. It's awesome.
You know,
I love
it. And it
what they always promised it would be, you know.
Yeah,
it's finally like
that they started out pretty rough.
Yeah, they started a little early. But I loved it from day one. You know, it's been a really cool game.
Yeah,
it's fun to discover.
I'm all about that. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about.
I'm all about open world games. Like if it's a sandbox game where like it's just like here's the map, go figure it out. It's like I'm all over it. You got it. That means I have to go explore. Like I love Red Dead Redemption, all the Grand Theft Autos. You know, I got this new one. I got this other one called Death Stranding. See, and I've seen you play those flight simulators. Man, and I love that game. That's such a cool fucking game. Dude, I remember we used to do shows. We used to do shows like where you'd fly.
Yeah.
We'd do the cabin shows.
Man. Yeah, I did the I think I'm still the only one so far to date that did an entire podcast flying from Salt Lake to LA, and I was the pilot and playing music.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're at 32,000 feet. The fasten seatbelt sign has been taken off. You can now rock out to.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what you do. That's what you do. That's what life's all about, man. It's like enjoying it. If you're not enjoying your life, like do whatever you can to get out of the situation you're in. Because the whole point of life is to enjoy it or to learn from it. And so if you are in a shit situation, like make sure that when you remove yourself from the shit situation, that you learn from that shit situation. Yeah. And then,
so true.
You know, then you can take that information forward with you so you don't enter another one, you know, and just find the thing that sets you on fire, you know, don't set yourself on fire, I suppose. Unless that sets you on fire, I guess. Like if you really want to do that.
I really like burning apart.
But I do not advocate any type of violence, to be honest, completely in its entirety. I do not like. So if you take any of what I've said as like some type of free pass to sort of be, you know, be some violent asshole anarchist, whatever. That's not what I'm saying at all. You've misconstrued what I'm saying. I do not advocate violence.
I'll just say it for you. If you take the stuff that Dan says as something violent, you're an idiot.
Yeah, no, for real. But
you certainly
people
didn't
have
get the message even remotely close. This is all about peace and love.
Yeah, people have misconstrued that. They'll take what I say like you're nothing, blah blah blah, and they'll turn it into this nihilistic sort of thing, and then they'll become somewhat, argumentative, and they'll start pointing out like, well, so you think it's okay if blah blah blah, and then like shit gets violent. It's like, no, I never once said anything about violence. So
Yeah.
I use words like suffering and sorrow and stuff like that, but I'm pointing out like internal suffering, right? And internal struggle and strife. And I realize that there's external struggle and strife, but what I'm pointing out is that in reality, that external struggle and strife comes from the internal one that's still occurring. And once the internal struggle and strife gets resolved, the external resolves itself. And so, it's about removing yourself from situations in which you would be in that situation.
And it goes almost in the guidelines of like the argument for religion and those who, they're like, when they find out like I'm an atheist or whatever, they're like, oh, and I make a comment. They're like, so if there's no God, that means you can do anything. And I'm just like,
right, yeah, see, exactly.
You
get these, you get these polar,
so polar, and they're like, you need to have God so you can be a good person. And I'm like, am I a good person? And they're like, yeah. I said, do I need God to be a good person then? They're like, ooh, and they're like, oh, so you're saying I can go out and kill somebody? And I'm like, well,
no,
if you need religion
I didn't say
to be
those
able
words,
to tell you not to kill somebody, then you should probably go seek help, because you
if that's your reasoning.
Yeah, I mean,
because God's not in my life.
Saying, oh well, if you don't have a God, then you can go kill somebody, and I'm just like,
there's something else wrong there.
Yeah, then you definitely have something else deep seated that you need to resolve, because it's not about that. And those are some of the weirdest conversations I ever had.
For sure, yeah, no, for sure. But they happen a lot, like a lot more than you'd expect.
To that picture that you were showing.
Yeah, it's like, how does it look?
Is it a cube missing a piece, or is it a cube inside a room? And there are just some people out there that see one or the other. They can't see that.
In reality, it's just lines. It's neither of those. It's just lines that we perceive a specific way, right?
And even then, sir.
And even then, it's nothing. Exist. It's nothing. In turn, making it everything. In turn, making you smash that subscribe button and that like button.
Yes. There you go.
And comment if you have anything that you want to say. We don't always respond. Don't take that as an insult. Take that as a response.
Sometimes that's the way it goes.
But we appreciate you all for listening. Thank you, John, for being on the show.
I appreciate it, man.
This was a great episode. Great. Yeah, absolutely. Love to have you back again too. So
anytime.
We'll do this again. All right, everybody. Well, until next now, not time. Until next now, we'll talk about nothing. Peace.